Hello everyone! It's been a while since I made the video about Saint Seiya, and since many of you liked it, I decided to make one about the gold saints of Lost Canvases. So here we go, but first, please remember to subscribe to support the channel and like the video. Shion is the Ares gold saint of the 18th century during the Lost Canvases timeline. He is a chill and analytical person and is a descendant of the Lost Continents people. Shion is a disciple of Hakurei, the elder of Jameer and former training partner of Yuzuriha, the nice chick with a very, very long ponytail. Shion is a Tibetan, although he is blonde, and in this timeline, he is 18 years old. He will later become the Pope of the Sanctuary and Master of Mu. He is also a close friend with Dohko, and with him, Shion is one of the two characters that almost spoiler. Shion is considered the most powerful Ares gold saint of all time, and this is proven by the fact that he became the Pope in the main series and the fact that Mu is no match for him when he appears as a specter. Okay, let's stop for a moment. Actually, Shion from this series does not become the Pope because this series is considered a spin-off and not canon. The young Shion that later appears as a specter in the main series is the Ares saint from Saint Seiya Next Dimension. The same is for Dohko as well. Hasgard or Rasgado was the Taurus gold saint in the 18th century. Okay? Hasgard may sound wrong to you, but his real name is not very clear because of the translation. Its Japanese name is Hasugado, but in some countries, like Italy and Portugal, the translation is Hasgard, while in others, like France, it is Rasgado. To confuse us even more, he decided to call himself Aldebaran once he became a saint. Yeah, just like his successor from the main series, Hasugado. Let me call him this way. I prefer this one. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Hasugado is a tall, big, and noble master who treasures his friends and students and always smiles. He is mentor to Teneo, Salo, and Salintha, having once saved their lives, and was chosen by them as their teacher. Comparing it to Aldebaran, the Taurus saint of the main series, Hasugado is more calm and powerful. It has two moves, Great Horn and Titan Nova, his signature move. I don't know how to explain this move properly. Let's just say that it is a big eruption of the ground around him. Many fans say that Aldebaran is far more powerful than him. I don't agree with this point of view. What about you? Do you think Hasugado is stronger or Aldebaran is stronger? Or maybe we should consider Harbinger as the most powerful Taurus saint, since he is the only one that is still alive? Defteros and Aspros. Defteros and Aspros are the gold saints of Gemini in the Lost Canvas timeline. Defteros, also known as the Ogre of Cannon Island, the island where he retreated following the murder of his brother Aspros. He is introduced to us when Tenma, the Pegasus saint of this era, arrives on Cannon Island. Defteros appears dark, sadistic, and violent, and appears to have a disturbed personality. This can be seen in certain behaviors, such as fighting against his weaker companions under the pretext of making them stronger and crumbling their armor with his teeth. Yes, you read that right. With his teeth. Is it perhaps because he feels too inferior to his brother? Or is it because others don't consider him to be his equal? Well, I don't think I have the right answer. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Back to us, Defteros is intrigued by Tenma's tenacity, so he accepts him as a disciple, teaching him to better manipulate his cosmos and quickly achieve the seventh sense. According to Asmita, Defteros has the power to shatter the stars of the galaxy. For this reason, the Virgo saint begs him, manifesting himself through the armor of Tenma, to join the war. For those who don't know, his name in Greek means second, or number two, and in the manga version, it was adapted into the modern form Defteros, rather than the older Deuteros. Aspros, the elder brother of the two, spent his youth training to become a gold saint, to gain prestige for himself and his brother Defteros, whom everyone considered born under an evil star and destined to be his shadow for the rest of his life. After becoming a saint, Aspros became ambitious and coveted the throne of the Great Pope, but at the time, the chosen candidate was Sisyphus. In reality, Aspros was also an excellent candidate, but Sage had doubts about his mental clarity, so to speak. Distraught at not being chosen as his successor, Aspros went mad and turned to the dark side. He attempted to manipulate his brother with Genro Mauken to force him to kill the priest, Sage. The attempt failed because As mentioned above, Sage had already foreseen this event and had therefore already devised a plan B with Asmita, Saint of Virgo, to defend himself. Asmita frees Defteros from the Genro Malkin, and the latter treacherously stabs his brother in the heart, killing him. Before dying, however, Aspros hits himself with the Genro Malkin, threatening to take the Pope's throne even after his death. And so he does, siding with the Spectre during the war and fighting his brother Defteros in the underworld, winning and losing at the same time. Let me explain. Aspros defeats Defteros, but his younger brother still manages to restore his sanity, freeing him from the Genro Malkin he had launched before dying and from Hades' control. It later turns out that, in reality, Aspros wasn't evil to begin with, but that his mind was contaminated by Mephistopheles' specter Yomi. Gemini's saints always confused me. As a child, I couldn't figure out who was the evil one between Saga and Kanon. Now with these two, I still can't figure out which of the two is sane and which of the two is bipolar. Now let's talk about the power level of these two brothers. Even though Asmita said Defteros can shatter stars in the galaxy, and despite having his own unique move, the Mavros Eruption Crust, Defteros is still inferior to his older brother. In terms of Cosmos and the power of direct attacks, they can be considered on the same level. However, Aspros is better at using the Genro Malkin and the space-time technique. At least that's what I think. Tell me what you think, always in the comments below, of course. Manigoldo. Manigoldo is the gold saint of Cancer in Lost Canvas. He is one of the most cunning saints to have lived within the era, and is the pupil of Sage, the former saint under the Cancer constellation, and one of the most powerful Grand Popes of the Sanctuary. His name, Manigoldo, is taken from an Italian word that means rascal or rogue. It is a fitting parallel to the character's personality. Manigoldo was orphaned as a child by a war that consumed his village. Sage found him and sensed that he had the power to see souls. He made him his disciple and trained him as his successor, giving meaning to the life of this tragic child. Manigoldo's personality is very similar to Deathmask's from the classic series. Unlike him, however, he's more loyal to Athena and in a certain sense, more chivalrous. He's a character I personally like a lot. He's not a serious and dutiful saint like Ares's and Capricorn's ones, but he's not as arrogant and mean as Deathmask either. He's the stereotype of a good-hearted little thug, just like Metal Bat from One Punch Man. I made a video about the first-class heroes of One Punch Man. Go check it out. Now let's talk about Manigoldo's techniques. As the Gold Saint of Cancer, he is well-versed with offensive and manipulative techniques. Just like Deathmask, Manigoldo specializes in spiritual techniques much associated with death, souls, and the underworld. From this series, it can be theorized that many of these moves were handed down from his master, Sage, the Grand Pope. We already know the Seki Shiki Meikai Ha, the signature move of the Cancer Saint. I talked about it in the video of the Gold Saints from the classic series. You can check it out if you haven't already. In addition to this, Manigoldo is able to use other techniques like Seki Shiki Kisoen and Seki Shiki Konso Ha. The first one is like a spell that Manigoldo casts to burn the souls of his surroundings. The second one works like a Rasengan, if you allow me to use it as an example. Manigoldo channels all the souls from his surroundings in his fist and uses them as a power-up for a direct attack. Regulus. Regulus is the Leo Gold Saint in Lost Canvas, the youngest and most promising saint of his generation. He's only 15 years old. His name comes from Latin and means little king, referring to the brightest star in the Leo constellation and his young age, I guess. Regulus is a curious observant of things and people around him in order to be as understanding of things and methods as possible. When his father was killed, Regulus became vengeful and untrusting, determined to protect the Leo cloth from those who tried to take it until he was eventually found by his uncle Sisyphus. The Saint of Sagittarius takes care of him and gives him guidance. Under Sisyphus, Regulus did become happier and more friendly. The deep relationship between Leo's saint and Sagittarius saint is an iconic fact that comes from the classic series. Also in this series, they are relatives. Anyway, Regulus still holds a great need to avenge his father's death at the hands of Wyvern Rhadamanthus, and this appeared to be one of his greater motivations to become a saint. Personally, I don't really like this character. He's too similar to Tenma, the Pegasus saint from this spin-off. In short, Regulus has too many similarities with the main character, and in a certain sense, he is the main character, given that the Lost Canvas series focuses more on the 12 Gold Saints. Asmita. Asmita is the gold saint of Virgo in this timeline, representing the embodiment of wisdom and spiritual purity. He is the most powerful cosmos among the gold saints. Asmita was born into a family of Buddhist monks in ancient India, growing up immersed in philosophical and spiritual teachings. He has demonstrated extraordinary mystical abilities and an innate understanding of the mysteries of the universe. Asmita is blind. He does not purposely keep her eyes closed like Shaka, and paradoxically, thanks to her blindness, Asmita is able to see the true essence of things. It is as if he had sacrificed his material sight to gain spiritual vision and perceive souls, cosmos, and vital energies with greater clarity. Asmita has a very calm personality and deep wisdom that reflects years of meditation. He is peaceful, thoughtful, and always speaks with a measured cadence that reveals the depth of his thoughts. His approach to battle and life in general is that of someone who has understood the illusion of the material world and takes fights only for greater good, just like every Virgo's saint, I may say. The series author considers Asmita the strongest of his generation, partly because of his immense cosmos and partly because of his Tembu Horan, able to suppress not only the first 6 senses but also the 7th and 8th, Dohko. Dohko is the gold saint of Libra, as we all know. He is a much younger version of his counterpart from the classic series. Dohko is a warrior in the prime of his life, characterized by overflowing energy and a charismatic personality, albeit with a very reckless nature. Hailing from the mountains of China, Dohko spent his youth training in traditional martial arts and absorbing the teachings of Eastern philosophy. In this timeline, Dohko is lively, passionate, and a young man still discovering the weight of responsibility that comes with being a gold saint. He is a fighter who loves battle, not for the violence itself, but for the opportunity to continually test his limits and grow through each encounter. He has an almost playful approach to combat, often smiling even in the most dangerous situations. Dohko is close friends with Shion and forms an inseparable duo with him. The best tag team among the gold saints, I might say. Kardia. Kardia is the gold saint of Scorpio. Physically, he resembles Milo from the classic series, but his personality is distinct. His name derives from the Greek Kardia, heart, a reference to his heart disease, and of course, Antares, the heart of the Scorpio constellation. Unlike Milo, he is a very impulsive warrior who follows instinct over reason in every situation and chooses to live with the YOLO philosophy. He has always sought a worthy opponent to risk his life against, given that he is destined to die anyway from his heart disease. Precisely for this reason, like Manigoldo, he does not fear death and never stops smiling, no matter who his opponent, living his life to the fullest, regardless of its length or shortness. As a gold saint of Scorpio, Kardia possesses the Scarlet Needle, but thanks to, or because of his illness, Kardia also possesses the Katakayo version, a hot variation of the regular Scarlet Needle, so to speak. This move was taught to him by Crest, the legendary Aquarius saint and master of Degel, whom we'll talk about later. Basically, this buffed-up variation of the Scarlet Needle allows Kardia to burn his opponent's wounds and boil their poisoned blood. I've always had a soft spot for the Scorpio saint, and I really like Kardia, although, in my opinion, the best representation of this constellation is the one in the movie Saint Seiya, Legend of Sanctuary. A female figure is more fitting for the Scorpio saint? That's what I think. Sisyphus. Sisyphus is the Sagittarius saint of the group. It is quite a basic character for the role of the Sagittarius saint. He doesn't have a particular personality and is very similar to Aiolos. Like Aiolos, Sisyphus' story hasn't been told in detail. He remains comatose throughout the first part of the series, and little could be said about him. We know that he took Regulus under his guide and trained him to become a gold saint, but he didn't do anything really important in the events of the series. From this, we obviously understand that he's not that strong. In my opinion, he's even weaker than Aiolos, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't really have much else to say about him, and he's a character I don't particularly like. El Cid. El Cid is the Saint of Capricorn in Lost Canvas. His name comes from the famous Spanish hero Rodrigo Diaz de Bivar, known as El Cid. This Capricorn saint is a very silent character, and also seems very insecure about his own abilities. This is evident from the fact that he spends a lot of time training to use Excalibur. Unlike Shura, his counterpart from the classic series, he has a much more chivalrous and calm demeanor. There's not much else to say about him except that he died in a very epic sacrificial death. Unlike Shura, who, well, let's leave it at that. I won't give away any spoilers. Degel. Degel is the gold saint belonging to the constellation Aquarius. Known in the sanctuary as the wisest of the saints, he is the only person, aside from the great Pope, who can read and interpret the stars. Apart from that, he appears calm, kind, and polite. He owns his own library and is the only saint to wear glasses. His name comes from the French meaning thaw. Degel is a scholar, more of a bookworm than a warrior of Athena. Despite being Crest's direct disciple, he doesn't display any power. He is a close friend of Kardia, and the two are practically always together during the events of Lost Canvas. Well, I believe so. Without him, Kardia would already be dead, perhaps. I'm fairly certain that Degel is much worse than Camus, especially since it's unclear whether he has reached absolute zero. Albafica. Albafica is the saint of the Pisces house and predecessor of Aphrodite. He is a beautiful man with long blue hair, considered the most handsome by virtually everyone. Gifted with a captivating charm, Albafica has no interest in maintaining his beauty, and in fact despises those who judge him solely by his aesthetic qualities, a fact that distinguishes him from the vain Aphrodite. Albafica is very altruistic and chivalrous, and unfortunately is the first of the 12 Saints of Sanctuary to die. He died during the battle against Minos the Griffin. He is a loner and always has a melancholic expression. His solitary nature and isolation from others is due to his altruism, knowing that his poisonous blood could infect those around him. This poisonous blood issue is not explained in the classic series, but all Pisces saints are required to have this trait in order to use their techniques. As for strength, Albafica should be weaker than Aphrodite, since it's said that the power of the Pisces saint's poisonous blood is passed down from generation to generation. In her favor, however, Albafica possesses one iconic technique, the Crimson Thorn, a move that involves shooting his own blood like piercing needles at the enemy. Okay, this is all for this video. I hope you enjoy it and find it interesting. Please check out all the other videos in the channel, and if you want me to talk about the Next Dimension series, the real prequel of the classic one, write it in the comments. Oh yeah! We have the Omega series as well, or the episode G to cover. Which one is your favorite? Write it in the comments, and I will choose one for the topic of the next Saint Seiya video. I'm gonna choose the first one that reached 100 likes. So write Next Dimension if you want a video about that, or Omega if you prefer this one. That's it. See you in the next video. Cheers.